Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting. It's November 18th, 2022. Our agenda this morning, we'll start out with success stories. We'll then have everybody put their 30-second introductions into the chat window. We'll then hear from our committee reports, and then we'll have our main event around the top of the hour. Oop. There we go. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just enter them into the chat window. For those watching on Facebook, if you have any questions, please enter your questions into the comment field. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the CareerDFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2007, I started facilitating and took over the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. This group's been around since the late 1990s. In 2007, I took it over when the prior person who was leading the group got a job. In 2008, I started a website called CareerDFW.org, which you'll hear more about that a little bit later. In 2012, I launched CareerUSA.org. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. And since 2017, I've been a member of the Practice Interview Team, also known as the PIT Crew, and you'll hear more about that in just a moment. Well, we'd like to start the meeting off with good news. Do we have any landings? Anybody have successes they would like to share? Please let us know. Unmute your mic and tell us. Anyone? All right. Well, we'll move on here. Let's see here. What we'd like everybody to do now is, if you would, please, in the chat window for those on Zoom, put in your name, comma, phone number, comma, email address, comma, position you're looking for, 2 or 3 target companies, then hit the return key. I'll put all this information out to everybody this afternoon, and you'll get this in an email, and hopefully you'll look over the list and see who do you know, who maybe you can help somebody. Maybe you know somebody, I see Rusty just put in his information, somebody at Unilever or Mary Kay or Avon. Maybe you can help Rusty out this afternoon. So, you know, check this out this afternoon and see who you can help this afternoon. For those watching on Facebook, if you want to put your contact information into the comment field, I will delete it immediately after the session is over. All righty. If you haven't put your information in, please go ahead and do that. Also, I use this information to update the roster. So if you're counting this as a workforce, something you need to have for the week, check off in your list, please be sure to do that in case they contact me, or in case you have to prove it, you can always reach out to me. So please let me know who's out there. All right, what we're going to do now is let everybody who's here in person give their 30-second introductions. So give me a second here. Let me spotlight so we can see those people. Unmute. Let's do later, and I'll pass the mic.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Archery. And first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for participating. I also want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. I'm a retail senior manager looking for anything in the administration area of management. And my target company is federal government, Costco, Advantage Solution, and Acosta. Again, Anthony Archery.
Well, good morning. My name is David Carey. I'm an experienced learning and development leader seeking a vice president or director position with an organization of 3,000 employees or more. I help organizations achieve success by establishing an effective learning strategy aligned with corporate priorities. My target companies this week are Chase Bank and RealPage. Again, my name is David Carey. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very, very much. We'll hear from Walt in just a second here. All right. If you know somebody who's unemployed, please tell them about CareerDFW and Career USA. Two totally free websites are there just to help you in your job search. And one of the things you'll find on the CareerDFW website is a bunch of calendars, and I'll be pointing more about the calendars out here in our presentation coming up at the top of the hour. All right, it's time to hear a little bit about the practice interview team. This is a great way to practice your interviewing skills. Don't wait until you have an actual interview to call up and go, I need help. I have an interview tomorrow. I need a practice interview. This is something you need to do beforehand. First of all, it's totally free, so there's no cost to do this. What'll happen is you send in your resume, you send in a job description, send in your schedule 2 to 4 days out. And what they will do is they'll send this out to their panel. They have around 30 hiring managers who will look over your information, and they'll pick and go, yep, I want to do this interview. And this is a great opportunity for you to get a practice interview with a panel. Usually 2 or 3 people will do the interviewing. The motto is practice early, practice often. You don't want to wait until it's too late, as I mentioned before. So all you do is send in your resume, job description, send in your schedule. Let them know where you are in the interview process. If this is just a practice interview, I have an interview coming up next Friday. I have an interview. This is the 3rd interview I have with the same company. Let them know where you are at the interview status in the interview. It'll help them prepare and ask you the proper questions to make it easy for you. Just send all that information in to dallaspickcrew@gmail.com, and they will schedule an interview for you. If you like to schedule a one-way interview, meaning that you just sit and you talk to your camera on your computer. It's very different. It's very bizarre. The computer will go and ask you a question. You have a couple minutes to answer it. Sometimes you can repeat the answer or, re-record the answers. A lot of times you can't. What happens is if you'd like to do one, just send your request to Walt Glass or myself, and we will be glad to schedule one for you. We each have a little bit different setup. We were given access to a professional program that allows you to practice doing that. Once you get the link, we'll send you the link, you do the practice interview, then we will send you the link so you can go back and watch it. We won't watch it. We won't post it on Facebook or YouTube. It'll just be for you to watch and for you to evaluate how well you did. All right, it's time to hear from Walt Glass about the Interview Success Workshop.
Well, good morning, everyone. And I can't tell you that there's not enough thanks in the world for what Jeff has done and is doing for job seekers. It's just absolutely amazing. And the impact that he's had is really a heartfelt thanks from all of us. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
So the Interview Success Workshop, I would suggest that you go to the pit crew and practice. I'll also suggest that you come to the Interview Success Workshop first, because that's focused on learning how to sell ourselves. There's 3 aspects of selling: who we are, what we do, and how we can help. I like to do it in a very informal format where learning is the objective, not stress and anxiety. So what is it that you have to do? Well, simply send me an email. That QR code will start you out with an email. You can just edit a couple places, send it to me, and request some dates of availability. I can tell you that the rest of this month in December are pretty well booked. So if you want to get something done quickly, let me know now so that I can try to schedule some extra sessions. At any rate, it's a very informal workshop since the focus is on learning. And the idea is that I do 1 or 2 people at a time. I got the 12 basic categories of questions, so it's kind of choppy, but the idea is to learn approaches, strategies, options, structures, ways that we can answer different types of questions. You'll also get an interview video. You'll also get a handout, and I have a 1-hour video that goes over things in the handout about interviewing. So it's not just the interview itself, and it's not just the session itself. And most of the time when I have two people, you interview each other, I take notes, and then we go over the responses and have about an hour-long discussion on how we can improve ourselves. So I'll be glad to have you participate. No worry about anxiety though. And so with today's poem, does interviewing create anxiety that removes us from sobriety? Well, remove heartburn, come practice and learn how to rejoin the employed society.
Thank you very, very much, Walt. All right, let's see here. Rosanna said she had a meeting this morning and she wasn't sure if she would be back to join us in time. Let's see, is she with us or not? Doesn't look like she has made it yet. So I tell you what, we're going to hold off. Well, let me just, let's see what we got here, because I can call the tip of the week up. So give me a second here and I will get it called up. And we will get it read for you. Let's see here. Here we go. Okay. So congratulations. So today's tip of the week, you'll find on the CareerDFW and Career USA websites. It's dated November 13th, how to negotiate a job offer. Congratulations, you've received a job offer. You may get caught up in the moment and want to scream yes at the top of your lungs and accept the offer. However, resist that urge to get your game face on, even if the fit feels perfect. Why? Because in many cases, you can ask for more money or perks as you seal the deal. While the thought of negotiation may seem difficult, it is normal and expected, said Brandon Beamley, founder of the Salary Negotiator, a salary-based company that helps coach professionals through the job offer negotiation process. You have the leverage once you've been selected as the right candidate. Accounting is an in-demand skill, so any pay package needs to reflect the specialization that you're bringing to the table. We deal with sensitive and complex data to make the sense of the financial status of individuals, firms, and businesses for them to make critical financial decisions, said Mark Stewart, an accountant for Step by Step Business, a resource for those starting businesses. You can negotiate a job offer if you feel like it doesn't compare to the value that you will be giving. If the thought of asking for more gives you the jitters, here's a game plan that you can follow. Oops, let me hold on here. All right. Number one, let's see here. Hold on, I'm having issues getting both things done here. So number one, time it right. Wait until you have a firm job offer, said John Rico, CPA and co-founder of the Manhattan-based Atlantic Group, a recruiting temporary staffing firm that places accountants and financial professionals. There's no point in negotiating terms for a job that you only have interviewed for, because this will give the wrong impression to your potential employer. In fact, he warns that negotiating too early could distract from the interview process and cause you to miss miss out on the potential offer. Oops. All right, I'm gonna put all four of them up to make it easy for myself here. All right, number two, do your research. Know what's fair. Gather compensation data to understand the role's pay and range and what peers and other companies earn. Companies range dramatically with their compensation structures and benefits. It's worth to shop the market to find out what that role should pay. You can ask trusted mentors or peers for their guidance. In addition, individuals can use multiple online resources such as PayScale, Glassdoor, Salary.com. Keep in mind that while these sites are useful, the information is submitted anonymously, so there's no guarantee it's accurate. Also, they provide compensation reports by current and past employees, so the pay may be different what companies are now offering new employees. Specifically, learn about the employee and their pay structure. This is how you would know what the pay range your experience fits into. Number 3, understand the entire offer. Don't get stuck on the salary number. Instead, understand the total package, including payoff time or paid time off, retirement matching, healthcare, bonuses, and other benefits, which can be quite valuable. For example, if an employer covers the entire healthcare premium, that could add thousands of dollars to your take-home pay each year. Understand and look at the total compensation. This is important because it allows you to calculate true annual income and compare compensation across companies. Number 4, sell yourself. Justification is key. A New York-based Mark Hirschberg, author of the Career Toolkit, Essential Skills for Success That No One's Taught You, says, just saying I want X more dollars isn't helpful. If you want more, the company wants to give less, he says. Provide a reason why you deserve that money. Now a company needs to address the specific justification, and you can see if you're on the same page about that. Treat negotiation as if you're asking for an investment. This is what your potential employee should be thinking about also. An employee is hired to bring financial value to a company. So they want to be convinced that you will provide substantial return for the investment into you. Present a clear idea of what you will bring and how much of the financial impact you can make. Confidently list your achievements. Confidently list your achievements and how you can help the employer reach its goals faster or receive better than expected results, and be prepared to answer follow-up questions. As you make your case, avoid words like maybe or I think, because they make you look uncertain about your skills, expertise, and value. And the 5th point is stand firm. According to Brandley, he's been able to negotiate more compensation for his clients almost 95% of the time. But if an employer won't increase the offer, don't be afraid to move on. Interviewing can be difficult and time-consuming, but just because you land a job offer doesn't mean you have to take it and that will be the only opportunity for you. Negotiating is a key skill that can be used anytime and time again as you move up the corporate ladder. Everyone needs to learn to negotiate. Doing so will help them throughout their career. So that's this week's Career Tip of the Week. You'll find it on the CareerDFW or Career USA websites. It's new every week. Be sure next week to check out our tip for Thanksgiving. Who do we give thanks for, and hopefully who you give thanks for over the job search period. So please, if you have an opportunity, check it out next week. The new tip will be up every Saturday afternoon. All right, there's the 5th one there. All right, if you'd like to join us for lunch today, we're going to go to Jason's Deli, 4801 West Parker Road, Suite 105 in Plano. It's on the northeast corner of Parker and Preston. They have all sorts of great food. You're welcome to just come and join us, and you'll be able to find out and see everything, and come and socialize and meet everybody who's with us and get to know the people that are here today. All right, in just a second, we'll have our main event. I'm going to talk about CareerDFW turning 14, give you some statistics and why I even started the website. Upcoming sessions I want to mention. Next Friday, we will not have a meeting. We don't have a meeting the Friday after Thanksgiving. Everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, please travel safe. We look forward to seeing you back in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, on December 2nd, the first Friday of the month, we will have open forum. We'll talk about whatever questions you have about your job search. So please join us then. Oop, oh, both lines didn't pop up. There we go. All right. Okay, it's time for the main event. I'm your speaker. I'm going to talk a little bit about CareerDFW, the history of CareerDFW, everything that's gone on. So give me a second here to load up my presentation. All right. can move myself up and make myself a little bit bigger here. There we go. All right, good. Y'all can see that. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to tell you a little background about how I got started doing this, why I got involved in this whole career game, a little history of CareerDFW, Career USA. We'll take a look at the websites. Then we're going to talk about the 4 main areas of your job search that I think you need to focus on. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just feel free to raise your hand, put them in the chat window. We'll try to get those questions answered for you. So my background, I've had 20 plus years in light manufacturing. I started out when I moved here to Texas. I moved to Texas in 1987. I'd worked for a couple firms before moving here. When I got here, I worked for a videotape duplication facility. We made VHS tapes. We had 600 VHS decks, and I moved up the ladder and eventually was I was in charge of all the manufacturing, shipping, warehousing, all the finishing that went on there. January 2nd, 3rd, whatever the first Monday was after New Year's, I got called into my boss's office and I was laid off. It was pretty traumatic, as being laid off is. I'd been there for 13 years. But what I didn't know immediately was everybody like me around the country had been laid off. They laid off 6 of us in the 8 different divisions around the country. Looking back, it was a good thing because 9 months later, the company filed for bankruptcy. So at least me getting out early, I had a severance package where those people who were there to the end got nothing. After that, I went to work for a printing press company, a company that produced printing press accessories. Widgets are widgets. It doesn't matter what you manufacture. I did that for a couple years till 9/11. The economy crashed, at least for this business, and I got laid off again. After that, I went to work for a bathroom remodeling company for 90 days. That was, I left that job. It just wasn't a good fit. You know, it's one of those things where, do you really fit in the organization? Was the company a good fit for you? And it was not for me. I actually trained told them I was leaving. I trained my replacement, and then I left. After that, I actually got, for the next 3 years after that, went back to another videotape duplication facility in Greenville, Texas. And this was through networking. I had gone to a networking meeting. Somebody who come up to me said, hey, I got a phone call. Somebody's looking to hire somebody. I think you'd be a good fit for it. This was actually a person I used to buy product from at the first job I had here in Dallas. So he referred me over. I met with the owner of the company who lived in Nashville. And so I ran the company for 3+ years in Greenville, Texas, until we finally had to shut it down because VHS tapes were finally dying and everybody went to those little shiny round discs called DVDs, which are now pretty much gone too. So I actually had to close that company down. After that, I went to work for a curtain company, a company who moved here after Hurricane Katrina. The general manager who was running the facility, I was hired in there to handle all the manufacturing. The gentleman who was running the facility, his house had no damage. He was a native New Orleanite. He had to get back as soon as he could. So a month after I started, he's told me one Friday, I'm leaving, it's all yours. And so I took it over for another 1.5 years until the owner of the company sold her house in New Orleans. She had another business in New Orleans, sold some property in New Orleans. She moved to Dallas, and she then took over the company, and I was laid off again. So, you know, that's sort of my work history. I've been in light manufacturing, helping small companies get things done. Since 2007, as I mentioned at the beginning, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The gentleman who was leading the group before me, there'd been several different leaders. Every time I'd been laid off in 2000, 2001, 2003 or 4 or whatever, 2007, I always came back to this group because I found it to be it was very worthwhile. We had some really great speakers. It was just a great way to, number one, get out of the house and you know, prove to your spouse that you were doing something other than just sitting in front of the computer. So it was just a great way to meet people and network with people. The leader of the group at the time, he got a job, so who wanted to take over. I think I raised my hand or I scratched my face, whatever. He said, fine, Jeff, you're it. So I've been doing this ever since. In 2008, I started CareerDFW. So it was 14 years ago yesterday. The reason for starting the website was sort of threefold. Number one, there's not a sign out in front of this church or any of the churches saying unemployed. Come here this morning at 9:30 or come here tonight at 6 o'clock. You don't find out about that kind of stuff anywhere. So where was all this information at? So the summer of 2008, before I started the website, I'd already bought the name CareerDFW. That was the easy part. How do you buy a website name? The hard part is building a website. So I bought the name and I went to Jewish Family Services, which has a career group. They have 5 or 6 people who work in the career center there to help people. And I told them what I was thinking about doing. And they said, well, here, let us help you. I didn't know if we would team up or do something, but I said, here, let us help you. And they gave me a document, a 2-page document of all the networking groups in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Well, the date on this, so this is the summer of 2008. The date on that list, the most current list they had was January 1st, 2006. It was 2.5 years old. So that sort of became my first priority, to update that list, find where all the groups are and get them up onto the website. So that was one of the reasons, and that was one of the things that I did. So I launched CareerDFW, I got the website done. Now, how did I even know how to build a website? I've never built a website before. Networking. I remember going to a networking group at St. Andrews on Tuesday morning. That group's not around anymore, but when it was, I went there, and after I gave my 30-second introductions, I would say, and if you know how to build a website, I need your help. Well, somebody came up to me after the meeting, and what you see is what I've learned, and what he helped me get started doing is what I've learned how to do since that time. So November 17th, 2008, we officially launched the website. CareerDFW, one of the important things that I wanted was that CareerDFW would become a nonprofit organization. I accepted no donate. People wanted to give me some money to get things going. Said, no, I'm going to put in the first whatever I need to get things going. But I did file paperwork with the IRS to become a 501c3, which is a public charity, meaning that any donations that you give to a 501c3 are fully tax deductible. Now, be aware, there are a lot of different 501c. There's 4s, 6s, 9s, 12s, 14s, and there's also other ones. Only a 501c3 you can donate to and write that off on your taxes. One of the reasons I want to become a 501c3 is because there was a career group called Career Connections here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And that's a group that I thought should have been a 501c forever and ever. That group is no longer in existence. They no longer meet. They're not doing anything, but that's pretty much where I sort of learned what I was doing here. They couldn't get the 501c3, and I don't know why they couldn't, but it was important to me that you all know that we're a 501c3 organization. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search You May Not Know. In the foreword, I talk about, why did I start this? So in the foreword of the book, for those people who've been part of this group, I bring speakers in 3 out of every 4 Fridays of the month. This book is a bunch of those things that I learned in a meeting. So if you think about, you're not going to remember. So in the foreword of the book, I talk about one of the speakers who talks to us every year. And he said, you're not going to remember everything I say over the next 60 minutes. But if you just take away one thing and do that in your job search this week, that's all I ask. Well, this book is a bunch of those little one things that I picked up over several years of speakers coming and talking. Now, his tip, I don't remember what his talk was about. His tip that I remember was, if you're going to have a networking meeting, meet him at Einstein's Bagel, because at the time, coffee is 99 cents and you get free refills. So, it's just basic little things that if you pick these little tips up, you never really know. So that's just what I've always, just a tip. So this book's a bunch of one tips. It's out there. You can get it on Amazon. If you see me in person, you can get it from me in person. All the proceeds from the book go to support CareerDFW. In September of 2012, I was invited to go to the White House Forum on Job Clubs and Career Ministries. This was sponsored by the White House Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. I don't know if this organization still is there anymore. I think during the Trump administration, they closed it all down. It was really interesting. There were 110 people there from all over the United States. How did they find me? The Department of Labor at the time was trying to find all the networking groups in the United States. They estimated at the time that there was somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 groups, just like this, trying to help people. They were trying to gather all those. Somehow they found out about one of the churches here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And they said, oh, you need to talk to Jeff because he knows everything going on in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So they reached out to me. I told them about my website, what I was doing, all the lists that was on there. They sucked all the information off my website, stuck it on their Department of Labor website because that's what they do. And then they had said, hey, we have this conference coming up next month. Do you want to come with it? Come there. And so I was able to fly up on my miles. I stayed with a friend up there, so it didn't really cost me anything. And it was great. There were 110 people from all over the United States. The Secretary of Labor talked. There were 6 or 7 presentations throughout the day. We were limited by the size of the room. We were in the executive office building right next to the White House. Yes, they had to go through all the little security things. They gave you little security tags to wear so the Secret Service could see where you are throughout the presentations. You know, they knew where you were in the building at all times. Pretty interesting. But one of the things I learned while I was there is that nobody else in the country was doing anything like CareerDFW in the country. So when I came back to Dallas, one of the things we were getting ready to rebuild the websites in October, we split up CareerDFW into 2 different sites. All the generic stuff went to careerusa.org to help those around the United States. I'd already owned the name for a couple of years. I just didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then everything specific to DFW stayed on the CareerDFW website. So how does CareerDFW survive? Well, that very first line is how I always go with it. CareerDFW survives by volunteers like you. You're the eyes and ears of the website. For those living anywhere in the country, if you know something, if you see something and it's not on my website, please let me know. If you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if you find out about job fairs, if you know about meeting groups that are meeting, anything that's on there, please. If you see a misspelling, please let me know. My first grade teacher instilled upon my brain that I'm not a good speller and my handwriting's horrible, and I haven't let her down since. So, you know, if you see something that doesn't make sense, please let me know. You're the eyes and ears of the community of this of both of the websites, how you can help me out. We have no employees. We have no full-time, no part-time employees, 100% volunteers. Everybody, when we rebuilt the websites, I had 2 different volunteer teams over the years who have helped me. I'm getting ready to redo the website again in January, February, and I'll hopefully have a volunteer team to be able to do it. And I'm a volunteer. I've never gotten paid to do any of this. This is just something that I do to give back to the community, something I feel very important about wanting to do it and wanting to make sure that, you know, I can help you. How do we survive? We survive on donations. The donations that we receive pay for business cards and flyers, web hosting, web names, any of the federal and state filings we have to do. There's a link, there's a PayPal link on the website. We'll accept cash and checks. Also, all the proceeds from the book also go to CareerDFW to help support that. So I know yesterday, I spent a couple hours yesterday processing PayPal, people who donated via PayPal, and I really appreciate everybody who's donated over the years. I don't ask for your donations now, but when you land a job, if we were of any help, please consider making a donation so we can continue to provide the services that we do. At the same time we started CareerDFW and Career USA, I started LinkedIn groups. So I started a LinkedIn group on November 17th, 2008. We currently have over 14,200 members. At the same time, we started the Career USA LinkedIn group. When we started that website, That's got several thousand members. So if you're not connected to the CareerDFW LinkedIn group, you probably should join. And there's a couple reasons. Number one, you're trying to expand your connections. You want to make connections with other people. Number two, probably 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15 people who join the CareerDFW group, they're recruiters. Why are recruiters joining us? They're joining the group because they're trying to find you. So this is a great opportunity for you to connect with a lot of recruiters in the Dallas-Fort Worth area who are doing that. You don't have to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join the CareerDFW LinkedIn group. It's just I started it at the time. You're welcome to join one or both groups. It's just a great way to expand your connections. We were also on Facebook. We started a CareerDFW Facebook page. This production that we're doing, what we're doing right now is on there. Most of our past videos are all on there. You can go back and watch a lot of the videos. You'll find updates. So if you subscribe to our Facebook channel, every time we go live, you'll see your phone will give you a little buzz and it'll say, oh, we're currently doing something live. So if you can't join us via Zoom, you can always watch us on Facebook. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, we've got well over 400 videos that are there. I'll talk more about those in just a moment. When COVID started, we went online. We went online 4 days a week. It was really interesting. COVID changed everything for everybody. It changed businesses. It changed how we interact with people. It's, people now have to learn to put pants back on because they haven't done it for a couple of years, getting out of the house and meeting other people in person. So all the networking groups in Dallas-Fort Worth area stopped. They didn't know what to do. Well, luckily I had already had a Zoom account. So I reached out to different people. The first people I reached out to was Mark McDonald and Walt Glass going, hey, you're not going to meet, the PIT crew's not going to meet anymore. How about putting together a interview workshop for us? So every Wednesday we got that going. I then reached out to some LinkedIn experts and I said, hey, can you put on let's do a LinkedIn presentation every Tuesday. Would you be willing once a month to do a LinkedIn talk? Then I reached out to for resumes and networking. And so every Tuesday we do a LinkedIn presentation. Every Wednesday we do an interview session. Every Thursday, the first and third Thursdays, we do effective resumes. The second and fourth Thursdays, we talk about networking. And then this group, we've never missed a meeting due to COVID. We've been here every week, except for holidays, doing it. So it's sort of interesting. Today happens to be our 587th program that we've put on. If you go back, and all those 587 programs consist of over 780 hours of material. So much of that is on the Career USA YouTube channel and on Facebook. Some of it's been deleted because it's older material, and sometimes some of our speakers do not want to be recorded. But we're going to continue on. We're not going to stop here, but I just think it's really valuable and something important to show everybody. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to take a look. We'll take a look live at the websites. Let's see here, get to the right screen. Here we go. All right, so this is the CareerDFW website. Get my cursor over. Let me move a few things around so I can get everything. All right, so CareerDFW website across the very top. Here we go. Come on, mouse. Oh, the mouse is moving really slowly. There are several different tabs that you can be able to go through and get to everything that's on the website. As you scroll down, you'll see the tip of the week right here in the middle. So if you ever want to see the career tip of the week, it's on the very, very front page of the website. Just down below that, if you're trying to find links to any of the webinars and teleseminars that are happening and you want to find and do that, you can click right here. It'll take you to that particular calendar. If you know somebody who just lost their job, have them click here. We've got a great handout or a great one-page document, a one-page web page that has a bunch of handouts on what should you do first during the interview? What should you do next? A logical order. The first thing you don't do is sit down, do your resume, and just blast it out to everybody. There's steps you need to take before then. So we've got some just great material for somebody who's lost, maybe somebody who's never been laid off before, on what you can do. I thought it was important that everybody know that you're not the only person who's unemployed. So every time you update the web page to a different page, you're going to see how many people are currently on the website. So when I loaded this page up about a half hour ago, there were 27 people on here. And as we go through the pages, you'll see those numbers change as we get going. If you're looking for the free online training that CareerDFW is doing, just look right here. You can click on it. You can open up it'll take you to the link. You'll be able to get the details for the Zoom link. So you'll always find the training that we're doing right here in the very middle of the website. Over here on the right-hand side, if you want to join the CareerDFW LinkedIn groups, you're welcome to do so. You notice how the cursor just switches to a little hand. If you click there, it'll take you to the Join Now page. You're able to, you'll be able to join the website. I tell you this, I will look at your profile. If your profile is not mostly complete, I may not accept you, because why are you on LinkedIn if your profile is not mostly complete? So just do that. If you want to join the CareerDFW or the Career USA LinkedIn group, it's right below there. If you're interested in buying a copy of the book or more information about the book, you can click right here on the book. Down below, when you do get that job and you'd like to donate, you can click right here and it'll tell you how you can do that. So the tab that gets used the most is the calendar tab. So let's go to the everything. We're going to go to the home page of the calendar here. And you'll see here there's several different calendars. There's actually only one big calendar. Everything is on one calendar, but what I've done is allowed you to break it down into different layers. So you're going to see here's the everything calendar graphically, or you can see it in agenda view. And I will point out both of them here in just a second. So come on, cursor. There we go. So let me scroll down a little bit so you can see everything here. So up here at the very, very top, for all the guys out there, these are called instructions. I know you don't tend to read them, but if you do need to try to figure out what something is, just look up here and you'll find out all the details. If you know about an event that's not on the calendar, please let me know. Just send me an email with all the details and I'll get it added. So let me get down here to the calendar so you can see it. Oh, come on, cursor, there we go. So there's a lot of stuff on here. I mean, there is stuff going on every day, every night. You know, check out what's happening here. Job fairs are in pink. So there was a job fair this past week here. There's a job fair tomorrow. If you know somebody who's in surgery schedule of medical assistants or front desk people, these people are holding a job fair. If you'd like to, you information there. All the events you see in blue, these are groups that are meeting in person. If they're in purple, that means that these are the webinars that people are doing things online with Zoom links and stuff. So you can see here that this is the South Lake Focus Group that's meeting, but then you can also get to their meetings online if you'd like to do that option too. So everything's in different colors. All the gold events, these are special workshops that are going on that I'm aware of. So you can go through and do that. Across the top of the website, if you want to look at next week, let's say it's Friday, you want to see what's going on next week. Not a good example because being that it is Thanksgiving, a lot of these groups are not meeting next week. And I don't know about it and they don't tell me. So the stuff just sort of hangs out there. So I would check about any group you're going to meet with next week, but you can just click on that. You can find out what's going on. Here's what's going on in 2 weeks from now by just clicking on those little arrows. If you want to get back, today is always in gold. The current time is this little red line that's right here. You can print this calendar out if you want. The problem is it will kill a lot of trees because there is so much information here and there's lots of different options. So please preview anything that you're considering printing out just to save a little bit of space. If you want to see the month view, it's a real waste of time because there's so many events on this calendar that it's really, really not useful at all. The other view that is very useful, though, is called the agenda view. The reason for this is it'll pop up with the current date here on top, and then it will have all the events for the day in chronological order. And you can go and you can open up any event that you want, just like you can on the calendar. All the same kind of information that's on there, and you'll get all the same information that's there. The nice thing is you can scroll down. It makes it, this is really sometimes easier for people to sort of see what's going on. Now here, these are two different events. Yes, there are two different colors. This one's in blue, this one's in purple. It's a little hard to see because the colors are so close to one another. But just as a FYI, here's how, you can see whatever it is you'd like to see. Now, up here in the upper right-hand corner is this little down arrow. If you click on it, one of the things you can do is you can turn stuff off. So let's turn off. All I've left on is career fairs and special workshops are going. So now you see here that the list has gotten much, much smaller, okay? And if we go back to the weekly view, you'll now see there's a lot less on here. So you can always go back and add stuff like, let's see here, career groups, let's see, groups that are meeting in person. So if you just want, you could see those. If you just want to see some business to business groups that may or may not be meeting, once again, because of COVID, a lot of these groups have disappeared. And unless you know that they're no longer around, I'm not going to know for sure. But this is an easy way for you to pop things back on and off to do that. So that's using this little button here. Over here on the very right-hand side, let me just point out that on all the sub pages, except for the first page, we've got, if you click here on the LinkedIn logo, it'll take you to the CareerDFW page. If we're on the Career USA website, it'll take you to the LinkedIn page for Career USA. If you want to follow us on Facebook, you can click here and it'll click you to Facebook. I'll skip Twitter because I think Twitter is in disarray right now. We are on Instagram. If you'd like to, you can follow us on Instagram. And this last one is the YouTube channel. So if you click here, it will take you to the YouTube channel and allow you, actually will take you to the playlist so you can see the different playlists that are out there. All right, so that's the calendar tab. The group tab, this was really the first page that I built. The calendar wasn't the first thing I built on here. The first thing I ever built was a list of all the networking groups. I took that list that I got from Jewish Family Services back in 2008, found out where groups were updated, put all their information into a long event. The problem was, it was really sort of hard to see because it's in such a long, because it was a long list of graphics. How do I find a group in my area? So one of the things I did do is when I figured out how to do it is I created a map of all the networking groups in the DFW area. Let me scroll down here. And here's a map that you can go view and you can click on something and you can go and say, okay, well, there's the South Lake Focus Group. Here's this group, and you can get more information. Be sure to zoom in because in some cases, there could be several different group meeting. There could be several different events happening at one place. And where'd all my tabs go? Here we go. So, you come up here to Addison, just check because these things could be sitting on top of one another because when you zoom out, you would only see one. So once again, this map is not updated with what groups are currently meeting in person, just because it keeps changing in flux. More groups are starting to meet back in person now. The list that I think everybody should be checking out is this professional group list. These are professional organizations that meet in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you're to print this out, it's 17 or 18 pages long. If you go to a professional group, it's not listed here, please let me know about it. But these are all groups of people who you should be networking with. These are just great ways to network with people in your field. If they have meetings, go there, join them, be part of the organization. So you can scan down. This I also have listed on here, meetup.com. I have JC organizations, Knights of Columbus, all those groups. So if there's a group on here that you're part of and it's not on the list, please let me know about it. I'd love to get it added to the list. Like I said, it's over 17 pages long. The about section. Now it's weird for most people to put an about section in the middle of a website, but I've done it here because the resource tab, the tip of the week, the job board, and the humor section are all on the Career USA website. And if you were to click on one of these, it would open up a new window and take you to Career USA. I'll point that out and I'll show you that in just a moment. So I have a little about section. Oh, I guess I need to update my picture if I think about it over Thanksgiving. That's what I look like pre-COVID, okay? Since COVID, this is how I've been infected with a beard. So, here's just a little summary. Here's why I got the website started, just a little bit of information about it. The reason, when I built the website originally, my name was never on it. The point of this was not to talk about me, it was just to try to help you. But I had a speaker come to our Friday group many years ago, and he said, Jeff, I don't get it. Why are you doing this? What's the story behind it? So I thought, well, I need to put a little brief summary about what it is I've done. So that's why you'll see that there. If you want to read more about my review of the White House, who was there, the topics that were talked about, some pictures out the windows of the executive office building, you're welcome to click here. We've got a history of CareerDFW. It hasn't really been kept up to date in the last year or so. I've sort of let that go. But if you want to know about the early history, all that information is on here. This you said we did. These are those nice comments that you send to me going, Jeff, thank you for the website. It was really helpful, or whatever nice things. I'll move those over to here. This is where I go when it's 11, 12 o'clock at night and I'm working on the website and I should be in bed sleeping. These are those little pat on the back. So that's where I stick those. It's mostly for me more than anybody else. We have our mission statement here, the goals of CareerDFW. We've been in the news a couple times. You can click here and find out more information about that. If you have a website and you want to add tabs leading back to our websites, we've got a whole series of buttons here that you can use and find different size buttons that you can download. And then if there's anything that needs to be updated on the website, please just send me an email to any one of these email addresses. The three of us, me, myself, and I will take care of things. We will get things updated for you. So that's the CareerDFW website. Let me switch over to the CareerUSA.org website. And if you'll notice, it looks a lot like the CareerDFW website. Now, let me go back just for a second here. I always like to sort of tell this story. Why is the CareerDFW website orange? I happen to like the color orange, okay? When I go and they have orange Fanta or sun-kissed orange at a restaurant, that's the drink I get at night or in the afternoon. So, I like the color orange. I did not go to UT. I'm not a Oklahoma State fan. I did grow up as a kid watching the Bengals, and, I love the little orange singular guy. If you remember the old singular guy before AT&T bought them, I used to like that. But so that's why the website's orange. When you build a website, you can make it whatever color you want it to be. All right. But when I built the Career USA website, I thought, yeah, I better stay with red, white, and blue. It would make the most sense. So that's what I've done here. It's laid out the exact same way. Career tip of the week in the middle. I just lost my job. What do I do here? Click right here for help. Currently it says we have, this was a couple hours. Currently 351 guests online. So, I just want you to know that you're not the only person who is out there looking for a job. Career USA training. This is all the same stuff. If you want to get to the Zoom links, you can click here to open up that calendar. You can join the LinkedIn groups over here on the right-hand side if you're interested in a copy of the book, if you'd like to donate. Everything else is, it's the same. Now, when we go to the group tab, here's where things happen to change. So on the group tab, you'll see that these are career groups that I have found around the United States from people who have emailed me or told me about these things. So if you're in the Atlanta area, they'll be there. If you happen to click on Dallas-Fort Worth, it's going to take you to the calendar tab of CareerDFW. Minneapolis, St. Paul has a whole bunch of groups. The Philly area, Raleigh, North Carolina. So these are the cities that I know about. If you don't see your city and you know that there's a networking group in your city or you know of stuff, please let me know, because send me the details and I will be glad to get this information listed on here for you. The resource tab. This is really the bulk of the website. This is probably 4/5 of what's on this website. If you count up web pages, there's well over like 1,100 pages total on this website, Career USA website. Career files. This is everything hopefully you need to know about your job search. Interview questions, cover letters, business cards. What do you do before the interview? I have hundreds of interview questions with the answers. Different kinds of behavioral interviews, SIDS interviews, just all sorts of things that you can practice with people. Everything you need to know about networking, everything you want to know about recruiting. I have a section here on websites, little niche websites you may or may not be familiar with. If you're in the retail business, there's a bunch of little niche websites just for the people who are working in retail. If you're trying to find retail jobs, they're all out there listed on there. We've got resources for veterans. So if you're a vet, you're welcome to click here and you'll find resources just specifically for veterans. And then all the videos we have listed, these are all the videos that are on the Career USA YouTube channel. It'll tell you links about how to get there, what's on the channel, and what you can find. So you can also get to it by clicking on any one of these tips here. The career tip of the week. Well, this is what we just read today, the career tip of the week. Like I said, it changes every Saturday afternoon. I've been doing this, let's see, if we go down here since 2009, all the old tips are all here. So if you're ever really, really bored and you want to read a bunch of old tips, I sort of consider these like those V8 moments. You'll read it and go, oh, that was simple. I should do this. This is something simple I can implement in my job search from here on out. So, consider doing that. My favorite career tips are over here on the very right-hand side. I've saved some here. I just think these are just real, real important. So before you start reading all these old ones, click these, read the ones that are right over here. I think these are the real big ones, the ones I think that really help you in your job search. The job board. I'm not happy with this job board. It's not great. This is the only place you're going to see a login screen. You only need to log in if you want to post a job. Everything on both sites are totally free. They're just there to help you. I don't collect any personal information. I don't want your resume to post on my website like other websites, because these sites have been hacked twice. It took me 2 weeks once over Christmas break to unhack one of my websites. So I don't want your personal information. I don't be responsible for it. So the jobs that are on here are only here for 21 days. I mean, that was one of the requirements when I first started, that they'd be there, they'd be current, they'd be up to date. I haven't been here in a while, so let's see what we got on here. A bunch of jobs. Well, there's some here in Capel, but a lot of them all over the place. Let's see, if you scroll down, these are the first 30 jobs. Currently, there's 446 jobs that are there. The easiest way to view this job board is to don't use the search thing up here, but come here by filter by category and go through and select. Here's one accounting job. Here's one banking job, one customer service job, 223 general labor jobs. That's the most of what's on the site. Somebody has found my site and is automatically filling in jobs all the time. 221 transportation logistics jobs. So that's the easiest way if you want to search and try to find the jobs that are in, that you may be interested in. Like I said, I don't like this job board. I'd love to find something else. If anybody out there is a computer guru and knows of a good one, please let me know. I haven't found one that I really like to change to. The humor section. You have to laugh a little bit. Looking for a job is really hard. It's probably harder than when you are working full time, because the stress and the things you're thinking about, and you're thinking about it all the time. What do I need to do? What do I need to do to find a job? So when we were rebuilding the websites, I asked the technicians, hey, can you give me I want a pair of eyeballs. I wanted a nose and a pair of fuzzy glasses, or fuzzy eyebrows above it, but we didn't have time. We only had a weekend. So between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday, you're going to see these little eyeballs out there going, why are you here right now? You should be out looking for a job. Okay. But if you do need to look for a job, look for them, you can still come down here and you can find some jokes, cartoons, some funny videos, thought for the days. They're all here. You can still go to them. So I'm going to just show you briefly the cartoon section. I'll go down to my favorite cartoon. Let me find it here. I always thought this was one of the better cartoons out there for job search. I'm sure everybody's been to IKEA and, you know, you probably think this is sort of funny, but there's also really other funny ones on here. I'm sorry, we're not accepting applications at this time. So, if you need a break, you need something funny, please feel free to glance down and, go check this out. But please do it at nighttime or on weekends. Don't do it during the day, okay? Wait. All right, the About section is just like the About section on Career. I got to change that picture too. It's just like the About section on CareerDFW. In fact, if you click on a lot of these things, it will take you back to the CareerDFW website because I wasn't going to maintain the same information on 2 different websites. So those are both of the websites. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to unmute your mic, ask me before I move on. Any questions? Questions? All right. Well, let me stop here. Let me reshare a different screen. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I want to talk about the four areas of your job search that I think you need to focus on. If anybody's new in the job search or even, I just think that if you haven't gone through step 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to have a problem because you can't go to step 3 without getting step 1 and 2 done. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 4 main areas of your job search. So I think they are, you've got to get your resume done first. And we'll talk in depth about each one of these subjects. After you get your resume done, you've got to fill out your LinkedIn profile. The third thing you then need to do is practice your interviewing skills. Your resume and your LinkedIn profile, they don't get you a job, they only get you a phone call. How well you practice your interviewing skills, that's going to get you your next job. So then once you've got your interviewing skills ready to go, then you're ready to get out and network, but you're always going to be networking. But we're going to talk about all these in just a second. So those were the reasons why we came up with LinkedIn, interviewing, effective resumes, and networking, doing training 4 days a week. So these were, it's a lot of the classes and stuff that we offer. So let's talk about resumes first. One of the things I've noticed is when people get laid off and people come to the Friday networking group or any other groups out there, they tend to have analysis paralysis. They focus way too much time on a resume. If anybody was with us yesterday, who heard Tony Bashara talking about resumes, about effective resumes, top 10 mistakes people make. And one of his mistakes was people spend too much time over analyzing what should be on their resume. Well, I'm not quite ready to send anything out. All the stories I'm going to tell you are all true. They all come from this group that meets here on Friday morning. We had a lady who was coming here and she came every Friday. It was probably 3 or 4 months into her job search. I asked her, I said, so how's your job search going? Well, I'm still working on my resume. I really haven't sent it out yet. I'm still trying to figure out how to do it. I'm thinking to myself, 3 to 4 months and she's still thinking about what her resume should look like. That's analysis paralysis. So here's what I recommend you should do. Number 1, you should have a master resume. Go ahead and prepare yourself, prepare a document, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 pages long with everything you've ever done, every job you've had since high school. Put down the addresses, the manager's name, who the manager was. List 8 or 10 bullet points. Tell us your successes in each one of those jobs. Then when you see an actual job that you're interested in, take that master resume, save it as, and then delete everything that's unimportant. because this way you're only telling them, if it's not in the job description, it's not necessary for you to be in your resume, because what's your resume? Your resume is just a hook. It's just to get them to call you on the phone. I'm sure everybody here has done a lot of great things, but if they're not asking for it in the job description, you want to make it easy for them to call you. You've got to customize every resume you send out. Do not just come up with a generic resume and blindly send it out, because that'll be very ineffective. The chance of you getting a phone call are slight to none. You've got to make sure you keep to the details of the job description. Think about this. A lot of brand new people in HR could be 22, 23, just out of college. They just graduated. They want to get in the HR field. They don't know what a project manager does who's in charge of X, Y, Z. But they were given a job description saying, go find me 10 people who do this. So they're trying to find 10 people who fill that job description. Make sure your resume matches so that person who maybe doesn't have a clue except for what's on the job description, make sure the words, the keywords and everything match. Yes.
Just a quick note. It was very interesting. I received a resume and it said, and I'll make up a name, Fred Smith, final resume version 6.2.
Yeah, you don't really want to do that, okay? If you send that resume into somebody, make sure the job title is your name, the title of the job you're applying to, and the requisition number. You know, that little 6.2, whatever that can be in a 2-point font in the bottom of the last page. But yeah, that doesn't really mean anything. So Walt, thank you, Fred. Final version. Yeah. So yeah, not a good idea. All right. On your resume, you have got to make sure your bullet points use dollars, percent, and number signs. I see lots of resumes and they look like a job description. They tell me what you were supposed to do, but I don't know if you actually did it. I don't know if you accomplished those goals. So make sure that every bullet point on your resume has an accomplishment. Tell me, how much money did you save? What percentage did you increase or decrease, errors or whatever it was? How many, there was a lady who was a receptionist and she said, well, I don't have any data. I said, well, how many phone calls do you get a week? Oh, 400, 500 phone calls a week. I said, all right, and how many people do you distribute that to? Oh, there's 28 people who work here. I said, great. You receive 400 to 500 phone calls a week and you distribute it to 28 people. You've now told me that if I'm looking for somebody with your skills, how busy you are and how good you can handle those things. So give me some data. Do not blindly send out resumes. We've sort of talked about that out already. Do not post your resume on LinkedIn, because your LinkedIn is mostly your master resume. It has everything you've done. By posting a generic resume on LinkedIn, once again, somebody may open it and go, nope, that's not really who I'm looking for. They're looking for a customer relationship specialist, and on your resume, it says customer service rep. Some people understand it's the same thing. Some people may not. One of the things I highly recommend is a one-page bio that you can post on LinkedIn. That's what you should be sending out blindly as you're networking and as you're reaching out to contacts to tell people who you are, what you do, and how you can help them, okay? It's a high-level document. You can use a bio for many, many situations. Minna Brown, who's been a speaker here, has a great book. It's called Be Sharp. Be sure it's called this. Make sure you get the second edition. You get it on Amazon, 17, 18 bucks. I highly recommend the book. Be sure it's the second edition. The first edition only had a couple bios in it. They realized when they redid it that they needed to do more, and there's like 30 or 40 different bios in the back of it. On the right-hand side, you see Minna's bio right there. She's an executive coach. She's an author, a public speaker, and she trains people how to be coaches. So this is more of an ad slick for her, but this is a bio. It has your picture on it. It says who she is, what she's done, and how she can help you with her contact information on it. So just consider, consider a one-page bio. So let's talk about resumes on the ATS system, applicant tracking system. Do not use any special characters, no special formatting. Do not use a header, no tables, You want your resume easy to read. There are well over 100 different ATS systems out there. So you've got to be very careful that your resume is going to be read. In fact, Tony mentioned yesterday that somebody sent a resume into him that went through their ATS system. And he said, this is a great resume. The problem was the guy had put his contact information in the header and his ATS system stripped off the header. So he had no way to know who this person was. So he wasn't able to call this person and contact them, even though they would have been a perfect fit for what he was looking for. So just be very, very careful what you do. You've also got to make sure that keywords align to the job description. You know, this is all a game of matching. This is how close does your resume match the job description? The more it matches, the better off you're going to be. Now, remember, when you submit a resume online to an ATS system, you have less than a 2% chance of getting a phone call back. Meaning you're going to have to submit 100 different applications just to get maybe 1 or 2 phone calls. You've got to make sure that all of your bullet points focus on results. I love the game, the so what game. Read your bullet point and say, so what? What was the result? You know, if you can, use an action verb to start every bullet point that you use, because that gives it a little bit of excitement. And you've got to make sure that you keep it simple. The resume is to whet the appetite. It's not to provide the recipe on how to fix things, okay? You're not giving a detail. You're here to get them to call you on the phone. So we do a resume training class the first and third Thursdays. We had one yesterday. The next one will be on December 2nd. And we'll talk about effective resumes, primarily for the ATS system, but basically what a resume should look like. People want to send me their resume all the time. And the first thing I'll do is I'll say, well, do you have a resume template that we recommend? Modify your resume to match, get your resume to sort of look like that. Sort of, you don't have to be exact. And make sure you have results, because if your resume reads like a job description, it's not going to tell me what it is you need. Those are 2 things you can do before you even send it to me. All right. So let's talk about LinkedIn now. So you've got your resume done. If you've got your, you know, your master resume done, 8, 12, 14 pages long, whatever it is, you can take that information and you can populate it into LinkedIn. So one of the things we talk about is your LinkedIn profile current and fully developed. Now, if you haven't updated your website, your LinkedIn profile in a couple of years, you need to go do that if you're looking for a job. When I mean fully developed, that means, do you have a lot of keywords on there? Does your profile tell a company how you can help them? You're a problem solver. You can solve problems. Can I look at your profile and go, oh, well, this person can do this. I need somebody who can do this. I need somebody who can increase my sales by this. I need somebody who has proven that they've done these things in the past. So make sure that you are able to show the information out there and fill everything in. Contact information. You know, can somebody reach out to you easily? You've got to have your phone and email address in the about section and in the contact information. Now, in your contact information, if I'm not a first degree connection to you, I can't connect to you. I won't see your contact information. But if you put your contact information in the about section, I can read that. Now, one of our LinkedIn presenters say you should always put your contact information in the very first line. That way it shows right up and people will see it. As long as I can open up your about section and see it in there someplace, let me know. Now, here's a pet peeve of mine. You don't have to put phone : and then a phone number, or email : and an email. If I can't figure out it's a phone number and email address, you probably don't want me calling you, okay? So don't waste, that's just wasted space. Use it for other more important keywords. Here's a picture of my profile real quickly. I've actually built my phone number and email address into my background banner. That way, anyone who is on LinkedIn and finds me right there, there's my phone number, there's my email address. Am I worried about my email address getting spammed? I don't get even more spam than normal. Do I get a lot of spam phone calls? No, not really. I'm surprised. I expected a lot more during the political, during the elections we just had. I didn't get a lot of them. I've actually gotten more spam calls since the elections than I did before. And it's only a couple of days, so people aren't getting the phone number from there, but also make sure it's your contact information. The way I built this banner across the top is going to canva.com, canva.com. It's a great way to make a banner. This is a lot more alluring than looking at somebody's plain banner on that LinkedIn allows you to use. Find something that represents who you are, what you do. I was at a conference for the American Association of Managed Care Professionals, which are a bunch of pharmacists. And the other day, we had somebody show us their profile, and he had a bunch of pills in the background. Well, that at least tells me, okay, what this guy is doing. He's not popping them, he's just serving them out. So as a pharmacist. So, what it is you do, let people know what it is you do. On LinkedIn, be sure to have a professional email address and closest large city state. You don't want jeffloveskittycats@gmail.com. That's not a professional email address. Jeff Morris PMP at gmail.com would be the best. You want to put your largest city that you're around. If you live in Prosper or Salina or some small city, you probably should list Dallas-Fort Worth. If you live outside the Chicago area, instead of listing Evanston, you probably should list the Chicago metropolitan area because you have a better chance of being found. You've got to make sure you have a focus title statement at the very top. Tell people who it is, what it is you do. Be careful that underneath your name, when you add a new job, it will automatically pull that job title up into underneath your name, that title. Make sure that title tells people what it is you do, that you're a Java front-end engineer, an experienced, add a verb in front of it, experienced Java front-end engineer, marketing brand manager. You now have 220 characters that you can use. So, pick 3 or 4 job titles because that is the most searched field. Make sure those job titles are job titles that you're looking to fill. You don't want to say that I'm in program management because nobody in a job, I've never seen a job description that looks for a program management position. They're looking for a program manager. So make sure that you use the correct verbiage so that those job titles are things that you're interested in. We'll go back to mine. Let me go back to mine just for a second. So you'll see on there, mine says accomplished, started with a verb, manufacturing manager, operation manager, general manager, 3 different job titles that I could do. I put a little saying, better, faster, smarter, and then speaker at career workshops and seminars. So I'm allowing, a little saying if you'd like, what you've done, what somebody said I can explain engineering speak to my mother. My mother understands it. Put down something that sort of, that represents who you are. Always be sure to send a personal note with a LinkedIn invite. I do not connect with anybody who sends me a generic invitation. I get those every day. But if you send me an invitation with a personal note, I saw you here on the presentation this morning, or whatever, I like you better without your beard, whatever you want to send me a personal message, I will then connect with you. Okay. Even on a cell phone, you can send a personal note. Now, this is an old screenshot off an iPhone. I think they've replaced that more button with like the 3 little dots with a little hamburger. But if you click on that, it will then allow you to go to personalized invite. You see over there on the right-hand screen. Send a personalized invitation whenever you can. You want to make sure you complete your profile to all-star status. You've got to have a current position, location, industry, a summary statement, which is your about statement, at least 5 skills, education, and a photo. Oh, I don't want my photo on, I'll be discriminated against if I'm on, people see me and they won't want to hire me. Well, have a professional looking photo. Everybody here in this room, everybody online, you have seen somebody at church, at a bar, at a dance, at some place and go, ooh, that person's cute. Okay. So if you're hiding your photo, it's going to you're going to tell people you're hiding something. Well, wait a second, Jeff, you said you need to have a current position. I don't have a current position. I'm currently looking for work. Here is what I recommend you do for that. List you create a current job. The start date is when you left your last job to present. The job title is 2 or 3 job titles that you'd like to be. So what you've now done is you've now filled that back in a couple times so that you have it up high underneath your name, you have it here, and you'll have it down by your experience section. Then on the name of the company, you list your phone number and email address. Now, I didn't mention this earlier. For those people who don't want to put their phone number out there, get a Google Voice number. Get a Google Voice number and it'll forward to your regular phone number. Google Voice numbers are free. So like I said, the name of the company is your email address and phone number. Then when you're the description of the company, the description, that's where you list 3 or 4 bullet points with 3 or 4 successes of things you've done. And the very last line should say, looking for a new opportunity, feel free to reach out to me, and put down your phone number and email address again. And that way, when somebody sees that, they're going to go, oh, you're looking for work. They're going to understand what it is you've done. And that gets you a current position. When you get a new job, just go and delete that old job or just hide that off your profile. And then that way, you still have that current job. You've got to have a professional headshot photo. You want to make sure you look decent. Make sure you don't have any hands on your shoulder. You don't want a complicated background, just a plain background that shows people who you are. And then the headline job position of the job titles that you're applying to. Be sure to open in settings, open to job opportunities. Let people know you're looking for work. People go, oh, I don't know if I want that green banner on my, the green banner says open to work around my face. Yes, you do. Here's why you do. If you're looking for work, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You are not the only person out there looking for work. You're not the only person who's ever had to go look for a job. You want to put it on there, and here's why. 97% of recruiters use LinkedIn to find candidates. Less than 50% of recruiters pay $10,000 a year for the full-blown recruiting package, and they'll never see if you have on your LinkedIn profile that you're only open to recruiters and you don't open it to everybody else. They're never going to see that you're looking for work. Okay, so you want to show everybody, tell everybody you're looking for work, put the green banner on there, very important. In the About section, you want an overview of your career, you want to use keywords from your profession, and be sure to include contact information. We've talked about that. Make it easy for somebody to find out who you are, what you do, how you can help them, and how they can reach out to you easily. In the experience section, you want to list your job title. If it's an unusual job title like I was a chief people person at XYZ company, most companies don't have a chief people person, but in parentheses, you can put down director of human resources, director of talent acquisition, put the job title that would be of interest. If you're a program manager, you need something more generic. If you need you need something more specific than just program manager, in parentheses, you can put what kind of program manager you were. All right. And then be sure to include a description of your duties and include keywords along with successes. List your education. If you have any awards, if you've any certifications. I'm a 6 Sigma Green Belt, so I have that listed. Any professional development classes you've taken. If you've written a book, if you've got any patents, there's places for all that kind of stuff on there. Your skills section, you can have up to 50 skills. It's important that those skills are current. They're the skills that you want to talk about. Be sure to pull the 3 important skills, the 3 most important skills to you up to the very top, because that's what's going to show when people scan down your LinkedIn profile. Unless they click on see more, they're not going to see those other skills. Those other skills are there for a search engine. So when a recruiter is looking for somebody, they can type in a couple skills. So if you happen to match those skills, that's what's going to pop up. But those first 3 skills are important because that's what's going to show as somebody scans down your interview. Endorsements, I think, are a waste of time. endorsing people for skills, because people endorse me all the time. I was a great manufacturing manager. Well, these people never worked for me. How do they know? So I don't put any credence into endorsements. But recommendations, I think, are important. You need to have 2 or 3, preferably 3 endorsements from 2020 to 2022. They need to be current. I've seen people's profiles, and the last time they had a recommendation was from 2014. You might as well just turn those off, because that's not going to tell me anything. You need to see current recommendations. On LinkedIn, if you're applying for a job at a company, you're interested in a company, be sure to follow that company. And the reason you want to do so is for those recruiters that have the full-blown recruiting package, and they do a search, and let's say 100 people pop up. One of the boxes they have across the top is, of my 100 people who are in the search here, 25 of them follow this company. Well, I'm going to look at those 25 people first, because they may already know what's going on. If they don't know what's going on in the company, then, I might as well, if I can't find any good candidates out of those 25, then I'll broaden my search to the other 75 people who are in my list. But that's one of the reasons you want to follow a company. On LinkedIn, you've got to be active on LinkedIn. You need to post something, you need to share something, you need to like something. Every day you should like or share something. You really only need to be on LinkedIn 15 to 30 minutes a day. That's it. You can take care of what you need to do. You need to spend most of the day out making phone calls and networking with people, contacting people. If you can post something once a week, that would be great. If you're going to make a comment about, put on here, make comments. If you make comment on somebody else's post, make sure it has more than 8 words. We've heard that 8 words is a magic key. And make it meaningful. Tell somebody what it is about that article. Hey, you really liked what they talked about. Spend a little time, because what will happen is, and people will comment about your comments, and you'll get your name out there. A great way to connect with other people. Always reply to any LinkedIn in-mail or connection request. LinkedIn keeps track of if you're active or not. So if you're not active, one of the options that a recruiter has is they want to contact people who are active on LinkedIn. So even if you're not interested, just say, thanks, not interested. So we do a LinkedIn presentation every Tuesday. We've got 4 speakers who talk about LinkedIn. Join us every Tuesday on Facebook, on Zoom, and we have a lot of them recorded, and I'll show you those when we get to our YouTube channel in just a little bit. So let's talk about interviewing a little bit. So you've got your resume, you got your LinkedIn profile ready to go, really robust. Once you've done it, you don't have to really spend any more time updating your LinkedIn profile. You don't have to update your resume anymore. Now you're ready to practice some interviewing skills. You've got to be prepared. Every bullet point on your resume needs to have a story. I think you need to write them down. You need to have a STAR story. It could be STAR, it could be SAR, it could be RATS, it could be whatever you want to call it, but situation, task, action, result, or result first. Here's the actions I took. Here's why we had to do it. RAW, R-A-W is another method. You've got to make sure you keep your answers to 45 to 60 seconds. On the internet, if you're doing a phone, something like this, you've got to keep it down to 60 seconds or down to 45 seconds, I think. If you're meeting somebody in person, yeah, you could go a minute, maybe a minute 15 if you needed to. But on Zoom, online, shorter the better, because people get distracted very, very easily. They'll look at their phone, they'll look at something else that's going on. So you want to be just very careful there. When I say write things down, I like to put them on index cards. I think by putting them on index cards, it's a great way for you to be able to sit there and you can flip through and sort of see what it is I've done. And like if you're meeting somebody in person, when you're at the location, you can sit there and flip through and talk with somebody. Be prepared for some of these questions. Why do you want to work here? I know there's a recruiter, and she asks this to everybody. And if you don't have a good answer, you don't move on. You're not trying to work here because of their benefits or their pay. There's a reason. You're excited about working at this company because of what they do, their reputation, whatever it is like that. How much did you make at your last job? Not necessarily that, but it could be a question about salary. what is your expected salary? What it is. Some companies, they don't really pay, they don't ask those questions anymore, but just be prepared for the whole salary issue. What should you be making? Why did you leave your last job? I went to an interview once and all they did is they went through my resume. So why'd you leave this job? Why'd you leave this job? That was their question for each job. It wasn't, well, what'd you do there? It's why, that's all they want to know. Why'd you leave each job? Worst interview I ever went to. I believe in this method. This is the Ron's 10+1. You always want to have 10 questions ready to ask. And the goal is to try to get half those interview questions answered during or asked during the interview. So if you have a 30-minute interview, you're trying to get 5 to 6 of those questions asked during the first 20 to 25 minutes of the interview. And then the very last question, the +1, is always to ask for the job or ask for the next step. But if you write it down on your pad, you'll remember to ask, what's the next step? How do I compare to the ideal candidate? Is there any reason why I won't be moving on to the next step? Just whatever those questions are, just have those ready to go. A couple of weeks ago, we had a really, really good tip of the week talking about 10 really thoughtful interview questions that you could ask. So if you're not sure what to ask, go back, read the career tip of the week a couple of weeks ago and you'll find it there. Always find out what the next step's going to be. You don't want to leave the interview going, well, thanks. Look forward to hearing from you. You probably won't. Be sure at the end of an interview to express even greater interest in the position. And then be sure to be asked, be sure to be advanced to the next step. You want to go to the next step. What's holding you back? Is there any reason why I'm not the candidate for you? If you need help with your interviewing skills, reach out to the Dallas Pit Crew. We talked about them at the beginning of this presentation. So if there's any information, just reach out to dallaspitcrew.com. There's a webpage there that'll explain what the Pit Crew does. Reach out to them and they will help you out. Every Wednesday, we talk about interviewing. So that's our Wednesday seminar. If we have an actual practice interview that somebody's doing, we will actually show one. We did a couple of weeks ago. We had somebody who was being interviewed and you could watch this person being interviewed. If you watched it, I'm sure you picked up on a lot of things that you would want to do, things you want to do better, things that you liked how the person answered questions. So just join us every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. If we don't have an actual interview, we will play an interview session from either our 13-part workshop or some of our special speakers we've had on interviewing. Let's briefly talk a little bit about networking. Don't spend all day in front of a computer. 5 to 10% of jobs are found online, 10 to 15 are found using a recruiter. 75 to 80% of jobs are found networking. Who can I network with who can get my resume to HR or get my resume to a hiring manager or get my resume to somebody who doesn't even know that they need somebody with my skills? You never know. You want to just find out about what it is they can do. When you network into a company, a referral has a 50% chance of getting an interview, where a non-referral, meaning like an ATS that you just applied online, has less than a 2% chance. So if you can apply for a job, if you can find your way in, somebody can hand deliver that resume, you can get it hand delivered to HR, you can get it hand delivered to the hiring manager, they're probably going to call you. So we talk about networkings on the second and fourth Thursdays of the month. We won't have one now until the second week of December, so please join us then. We have a lot of different speakers. We've talked about all the different ways, all the different ways. Networking is basically the same. Tell me about your company. What do you like? What keeps you up at night? I don't like that question anymore, but what can you do? So these people all share the basic thing. They all just have some basic techniques as far as what it is they can do and how you can help them. So just a few little bonus things and we'll get out of here. On the Career USA YouTube channel, we've got over 400 workshops that are on there, all of them coming from our sessions that we record. On the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist, and then you'll be able to find whichever playlist you'd like to. There's LinkedIn, Effective Resumes, the North Dallas Plano Focus Group, interviewing, they're all there for you. Just feel free to reach out to any one of those. Click on that view full playlist, and you'll be able to see all the different events and things that are happening there. Another little bonus tip, be sure on your email. This is, to me, it's so simple, but people don't do it. We talk about it, make it easy to be reached. Make sure that every email you send out has a signature line in it. On Yahoo, on Gmail, on Outlook, whatever email account you're using. And make sure, even if you're just replying to somebody, that your full email address goes. Every email that I send out, you will see this full email address on there, because I want to make it easy. If I reply back to you and say, yeah, that'd be a great idea, you may, well, wait, I want to talk to you about that. You can just, there's my phone number. You can pick up the phone and call me, okay? Make sure, and if you're using an app on your cell phone, be sure to copy that and get it on your phone, on your cell phone app, because just because you have it on Gmail on your PC or Mac, it doesn't automatically put it on the Gmail app. You have to copy that onto that app too. So copy that same profile on there to make it easy for somebody. I put my email address, I put my LinkedIn address. My email address is in that signature line because somebody could go and copy this whole detail, put it into Outlook, and then sit there and paste it into each of the different fields in the Outlook that it needs to be. So I'm just trying to make it easy for somebody. Make sure your display name tells people who you are. That first person, WSU Cougar 96. This person came to this Friday group. She was part of the networking group who came every Friday. Her name is Barbara. And she sent this email out thanking everybody for the help she'd gotten through the networking and everything while she was here. Well, I told Barbara, I said, thank you for this email, but I'm going to show this email address at every presentation I ever give, because this is what you don't do. Now, I would think, all right, so you were a Cougar. Now, I may have Cougars who come to the Friday networking group, or may have in the past. I don't think any of them were 96 years old. I remember I got this email during basketball season, and I think I was flipping around. And it was like, oh, Washington State University, they're called the Cougars. Well, sure enough, Barbara graduated from Washington State University. They're called the Cougars, and she graduated in 1996. Don't do that. The second one here, Mike Gmail. Somehow Gmail had infiltrated his last name. He had done something and his last name disappeared. So I copied this, I sent it to him, said, hey, you need to go fix it. And he went and fixed it real quick. The next one down there, BR6O of SSC. What in the heck does that mean? You know, tell people who you are, like those bottom three names. Make sure your full name is on there. So if your organization or something is looking for a speaker, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always willing to talk to anybody out there. Like I said, whatever I can do to help people, whatever I can do to help you, please feel free to reach out. All right, I'm going to share, does anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to share a few screens and we will end the session for the day. Any questions?
Jeff, I just had one quick question for you. Yeah, over the last 14 years, first of all, thank you for all that you do. You've been doing it a long time. That's a lot of dedication. Over the last 14 years, what's the biggest change you've seen in the job market? I know that sounds like an interview question, right?
Well, I don't think the job market has changed. I think we have all gotten smarter in what we do. I think that all the networking groups that are out here, and I think that all the experience, you know, I think that 14 years ago, people were getting laid off for the very first time and were like, you know, deer in front of headlights. They were just like, I don't know what to do. Help me, help me, help me. I think nowadays job seekers, there's no, you're not going to be hired for the next 20 years. There's no 20-year jobs. If you get a job for 2 years, you've gotten a great job. So I think that the biggest change I've seen is that people are going to be changing jobs every couple of years. Those people who've gone through job search and those people who've been part of these networking groups and have learned some valuable networking skills, They know to keep their network up. They know to keep their resume current. They know that if I get laid off tomorrow, not a big deal. Here's what I need to do. Hopefully people out there, as to me, that's been the biggest change, is that I think there's no more lifetime jobs. It's just seeing people back in the job search, every couple of years.
Got it. Thanks.
Anybody else? All right, let me share a couple more things. We will get out of here for the day. Let's see here. Flip this over. If you have not put your 30-second introductions in the chat window, please do so we can get your name on the roster, that we can get out here. If there's anything you'd like to, any companies that you're looking for, positions you're looking for, please let us know, and we'll see how we can help you this, over the weekend. CareerDFW and CareerUSA, we're putting on training 4 days a week, except for next week. We're not going to have any sessions next week because of Thanksgiving. So we'll see everybody back on November 29th. We're back with LinkedIn Tuesday on the 29th and interviewing on the 30th. So join us the week after Thanksgiving. This session has been recorded. It will be on the CareerDFW and CareerUSA YouTube channel. As I pointed out on the CareerUSA YouTube channel, just click on View Full Playlist and you'll be able to go back and watch this at any time. If you'd like to join us for lunch today, hopefully you'll join us. Go to Jason's Deli, northwest corner of Parker and Preston. We'll be there at 11:45. If you love a great scoop of ice cream, it's very delicious, and the ice cream at the end is very free. So come join us for a scoop of ice cream at the end. And they've got great food, a really broad menu: soup, sandwiches, potatoes, great big salad bar, whatever it is you'd like. So thank you for joining us today, everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. If you're out traveling, travel safe, and we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.